And I'm going to be fixing this dresser here. It's got 3 bays, 3 drawers in each, so there's 9 drawers. But I just want to show you how this dresser was made and what a bad idea it was. So these pieces of wood, they're basically drawer runners. They're only 3/16 deep by a 1/2 inch wide, and the drawers that fit only have an 1/8 of an inch clearance overall, which means that the drawer is actually running on less than an 1/8 of an inch of this piece of wood, which wears out the top of the dado in the drawer, wears out the top of the runner. Since there's no frames to support the drawers just settle down. So the bottom drawer hits the bottom, and then the next drawer hits the drawer below it, and the next one hits the drawer below it, and you can't open any of the drawers. So my job today is to recut the dados in the drawers, make new slides, and try to get this back together. Alright, we brought the drawers back to the shop. Work on them first. And come on, focus up. I'll show you if I put a straight edge. I don't know if this is... You can see that this track in the drawer is worn in the middle, and with so little clearance, that's enough to make it, with the wear on the track, that's enough to make it hit the drawer below it. So we'll bring them in the shop, and the first thing I'm going to have to do is make a jig, because the front of the drawer extends down an 1/8 of an inch, and I want to use a router and a fence to cut everything reference to the bottom so that everything is uniform, and when I reference to the top, so that when I go to install them I can make a template that'll work on all of these drawers. Alright, so I'm taking a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, which is actually closer to 11/16, and I want to cut a dado in here so that this sits over this like this and gives me a straight edge to route against. And it has to be it's really just under a 1/2 an inch, not quite 11, not quite a half. We'll go a 1/2 inch to the outside of the blade. No, we're going to go this way, 1/2 an inch. And the height, I'll just set to my line. the edge, and I can clamp it. And then use my router fence to run along here, which would be a nice straight edge. And I don't have to worry about this overhanging front. All right, let me get the router set up. We'll come back. Okay, here I've got the router set with a 5/8 inch bit. I've got my fence set from the bottom of that board that I cut. I've got the depth at about a little under 3/8 of an inch. So I cut a new slot that is referenced from the bottom and will hang from the top. Just got to remember not to go through the face. Just like that. Now if I do them all that way from reference point from the bottom, when I go to hang them in the dresser, they're all going to be the exact same distance from the bottom of the next drawer to the bottom to the bottom. I can make one jig that'll work for all 9 drawers. Alright, all the drawers have been routed. And let's see here. See? And every drawer, this top edge is the exact same distance from the bottom of the drawer, which will make installing it very easy. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to break this edge so it's not sharp. And then the drawers, for the most part, will be finished. But what I'm going to do is, these drawers look to me like they're made out of beech, which is a very hard wood. And even though it is, and it's got good wear resistance, I'm going to coat these with paraffin so they slide nice and easily. Alright, I got paraffin in a can. I'm just going to melt it with a torch on a piece of aluminum. I'm not going to melt the whole thing at one time. Alright, the drawers are all finished, and now I got to make the sides, the new sides. Now, each bay for the drawers is 24 and a half, and the drawers are 24 3/8, which means there's only an 1/8 of an inch clearance between the drawer sides and the bay, which is a 1/16 of an inch on each side. So, the cut that I just put in the drawer is 5/8 by 5/16. If I make the slides 5/16 of an inch, it means that I'll have a 1/16 of an inch clearance to the bottom of each one of the dados. And 5/8 of an inch in height, I would probably go a 32nd or a 16th under, just so that there's no binding. Because what matters is where the top edge is, and as it wears, it's going to drop down again. So, we need 18, well, you can't see that up there. We need 18 pieces that are, I'll call it 5/8 minus, which I know that means take a 64th 32nd off, by 5/16 by 16 inches long. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to make these pieces. look at those tracks. There's not a space between them. Flat as can be. If you want to know how to do that, go check out my video on how to use a joiner properly. And now we're going to cut them to length, which is going to be 15 and a half. So mark it 15 and a half. We'll set the stop. 15 and a half. Ooh, look at that, it's right. Check it to make sure. That's good. Now, do I get two? Oh, I do. Alright, so the tracks have been done, sanded, and they're finished, ready to go in. But what I've done is I've put the three drawers together with a 1/16 of an inch between the drawers and measured it, and come on, focus up. It's measuring 21 5/16. But the cabinet, I don't know how they built this thing, but The cabinet's only 21 3/8. So that means that I have a 1/16 of an inch to divide between the top of the cabinet and the bottom of the cabinet, which is a 32nd of an inch, which to me is kind of ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is, since the drawer bottom here, I'll show you over here. So the drawer face overhangs the drawer side by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to run these through the planer, through the joiner rather, and I'm going to take another 1/16 of an inch off of the drawer bottom, which will give me enough room to be able to center this in the cabinet. Alright, so here's the template, putting the runners into the cabinet. Lines them up. And I just move it to the other side. And do it again.